Culture Uncut. This is Culture Uncut. This is Culture Uncut. I am your host, Jason Spears, and Colt fans, we've got a lot to talk about.
This is Culture Uncut. I am your host, Jason Spears. This will be a nice bye week to enjoy. 8-2, first place Indianapolis Colts with a week off to just heal their wounds, hopefully get some players back, and us as fans just kind of get to chill and just watch football, not have to be stressed out, and we're in a good spot. And I thought it'd be fun to kind of do a Q&A. I haven't really done much. So I thought I would do that and put that on my X account and see if anyone had any questions, and I would do my very best to answer those questions. And so here we are. So first of all, before I get into that, I wanted to kind of give a shout out to Stephen Holder. I'm not a huge Stephen Holder guy, but he did a really, really good article on Carly Ursay Gordon and her approach to owning the team. It's on ESPN.com. There is a link on my page on X, which is at For the Culture with an O _J. I left my comment, and if you look under it, it will have the link to the article Stephen did. It's a really well done article about the girls and kind of the way the synergy has changed in the organization through the way the girls are doing things. I think there's a very good give and take between ownership and the players. And I think at its root, the best organizations have really good communication skills throughout departments, whether that be the scouting department, the ownership, the coach. They all have to have the same general belief system and process. And I feel like we have this. And I think that article you kind of see like why the players really respect the way Carly and Kaylin are going about their business. They truly care about the players' well-being as opposed to just caring about what they do on the field, which I think is very important, especially nowadays. So I just wanted to give Stephen Holder some love. I thought it was a really good article. I think everyone should read it. Makes me feel really good about where we are as an organization and going forward with leaders like this that we have at the forefront of this organization and the stewards that we have leading it, because they truly care about winning. They truly seem to have a a plan, and also there's a place that they have to get to. You have to have goals, but you also have to have a standard. That was the word I was looking for. There is clearly a standard that these players must play to, but at the same time, they're working together to meet that standard. It's not just on the players, it's on the coaches, it's on the ownership, it's on everybody. It's not just everything's on the players. So I really like where we're at right now with the organization. I just wanted to kind of shine some light on that article. I really enjoyed it, and I thought, most of you Colt fans out there would enjoy it too, because really, there hasn't been a lot of great positive stuff going on in this organization in a while, and everything with Jim's health and ultimately passing away, all very sad stuff. And I'm sure that was very, very hard for his kids. But that said, they're doing an absolutely great job so far with what they're doing with this organization. So I just wanted to point that out before I jumped into the Q&A, which I posted last night and got a bunch of questions, and I'm just going to go through them and try to answer them. So the first one comes from Travion. It's my guy Trey. Daniel Jones winning the passing title this season would be pretty wild, eh? Yeah, it would be. I don't think it's going to happen, but hey, man, you never know. I think he's leading it now, possibly. I don't even know what the stats are, to be honest with you. I haven't really looked at them too closely, but that would be wild, and it would also be driving up that price too. So Yeah, I still think we're a running team that passes through the running game, but yeah, that would be wild for sure. Hey Jason, we go back a long time. The Pagano spoofs and all, man, was a riot. My question is, do you think the Colts can hang on until we get Buckner back? Really like the Tommy growth this year. Your thoughts? And that's from Daryl Ingram. Um, Appreciate your support throughout the years, man. That means a lot to me. You were definitely sound like a day one guy, and I always appreciate those people and the loyalty. As far as Buck goes, it's gonna be tough, man. He's such a big part of what we do. He's, I think, our best player. I mean, it can be argued maybe Sauce, but I still think the heart and soul is Buck, and it's gonna be tough. I do think Tommy's getting better, but replacing somebody that's like a bona fide Pro Bowl player every year and just play always, he's just the strength of this defense because he's always there, and when he's not there, you always miss him. I always think of the game where he had, I think he had COVID or something happened where he was out in 2021, or was it? No, it was 2020, and Derrick Henry like ran for 200 yards. We couldn't stop anybody. That was a different team. My point is, you always miss him when he's not in there. So, do I think we can tread water? Yeah, I don't. If we pull off like 4-0 without Buckner, I would be astounded because that would mean that Gallimore and Tommy are playing their asses off, because of who we're playing too. We're playing KC, Jacksonville, Houston. I think Jacksonville's away, Houston's at home. I mean, and then I think Seattle at the end of that. So yeah, that's rough. I think we can tread water. I don't know about like 4-0, but I do think the team we have around him, I will say, is much better this year than in years past to withstand losing him. But yeah, it's always going to be a loss. There's nothing positive when Buck isn't out there. So, I think we get through it. Hopefully we get him back. I haven't heard one way or the other if we're even getting him back. I've heard Shane say he's optimistic we'll get him back, but that's not a guarantee. So hopefully, I just hope we get him back. So that's where I'm at, because neck injuries aren't anything to play with. Let's see. Not really a Q&A thing for me, but would you touch on how great our returns have been all season, both punt and kick returns? I feel like over 85% of our drives are starting beyond the 35-yard line, and nobody's really talking about it. Gould has been one block away from TDs. That's from Brando. Mini Hawk TV. Yeah, man. It's not a Q&A, but it's something that should definitely be pointed out. Our return game's been really good this year, whether it's been Gould or Abdullah or Doolin. They've been great. Outside of the Josh Downs fumbling the ball in the Pittsburgh game, which I look at that as more an anomaly than anything else, because everything bad always happens in Pittsburgh, as you guys always know that I say. But they've been outstanding, man, and it really makes it a lot easier for the offense. I mean, if you just look at it, those return yards matter just as much as anything else because you're getting that much closer to the other team's goal line. So yeah, it all works together. I mean, the special teams and the offense returns and especially work together with the offense, because you get a good return, then you give them a shorter field. They don't have to go as long. Not as much opportunity for penalties and mistakes and that kind of thing. So yeah, it's been better this year and years past. I think they've been outstanding in that regard. I think special teams, I don't know what their rankings are. I really am not tuned into that, but they seem to be a much more disciplined team, although I think they had a couple penalties in the last game, in terms of, and a much better tackling team in terms of, the opposite side when teams are returning against us. So yeah, I think as a whole, I just think the special teams, for the most part, has been a major plus this year. Return game notwithstanding, even the kicking game and all that stuff. So I think, this has been Mason's best year as a coordinator. And if you've ever watched his interviews, he's very detail oriented. I like that about him. He knows special teams inside and out. So, I trust him to get the best out of these guys, and he's been doing that, and that starts with good returns and certainly That's been a major part of what we've been doing offensively, and you're right. I don't think enough people have talked about it. So kudos for bringing that up because I haven't talked about it, and it's a great point. So thank you for that. So will Buckner return? So John has a bunch of questions, so I'm gonna try to answer them all. Will Buck return this season? Not sure if you've heard anything. So it's kind of a week-to-week thing. And I would say chances are he will return, but it's the neck, and you just never know how that's going to respond. You don't want to play with that because that, the necks are bad. Like anything that can happen can be catastrophic with a neck. So I would say, do I think he will return this season? Yes, but it's not like 100%. I haven't heard anything as far as like he's not coming back this season. I've heard they're being very precautious with it. And they're going to make sure he's 100% before they put him back on the field. So that's what I know. Your next question is, how do you think Steichen will solve the blitz pressure issue we have been struggling with in the past 2 weeks? I think there's a couple things they can do. I think they can throw more screens to kind of get to back people off of us. I think that he can run the ball a little bit more early on in the game to kind of get, because I think we get into these things, and Steichen specifically gets into these rhythms where he's just throwing every down. He did it in the last game, and they were just pinning their ears back and attacking us. And the best way to back a team off of the blitzing is screens, quick hitting plays, hot routes, obviously, but also the run game. And I don't think we specifically did that in the first half or in the Pittsburgh game really at all. And I think that's one thing you can do. Another thing you can do is go 2 tight ends and go heavy and kind of, max protect and depend on your receivers to win. I think that's an option too. I think those are 2 things you can look at and kind of making sure that you have it all taken care of. But at the end of the day, John, the biggest thing is these guys were in position on some of these blitzes and Jonathan Taylor was guilty on 2 of them. You've got to pick the blitz up. You can't be shed. You have to make that block. And on 2 of the sacks, I know Jonathan Taylor got beat. He's not going to be perfect, but sometimes you can have the right blitz protection and the other guys just beat it. And that's happened a couple of times. But there are things that you can do to improve it, whether that's going to the more 2 tight ends or, if that's more screens or whatever. The Colts have everything that they need to get it corrected. They have all the talent in the world. They have a great O-line coach. They have a smart quarterback. They'll get it figured out. They've got this week right here is big for the players to get away, but coaches are working, man. They're in there self-scouting, looking at tendencies and trying to figure out ways to strengthen weaknesses. That's what I always say. You've got to find a way, because you have to look at what teams are attacking, and they're attacking your front, your ability to pick up blitzes, and so what they need to do is be focused on solutions to solving that problem. I think they'll get it figured out. I think you'll see some schematic changes maybe and going forward, but I definitely think that's something that they're going to look at, focus on, and get fixed. So they'll be working on that. They're probably already working on it. So appreciate the question, and I do think that they will get it fixed. Let's see. Hi, Jason. Where do you think we end up record-wise at the end of the year? Where do you think the Jags end up as we play hard teams down the stretch and the Jags' schedule gets real soft down the stretch? Okay, well, I'm not even going to worry about the Jags right now. I'm just going to worry about the Colts. So we go into Kansas City. I think that's going to be a tough one to win. I think we beat Houston at home. I think we lose at Jacksonville until proven otherwise. I think we lose at Seattle until proven otherwise. I think we beat San Francisco and Jacksonville at home. And I think we beat Houston on the road at the end of the season. So I think that's 3 losses. So that would put us at 12-5. I think we win. I think 12-5, and we win the division. I don't think I don't think there's any way that Jacksonville wins the rest of their games, and that's what they would have to do, I think, to even tie us. So, look. The bottom line is the division is ours if we take care of business. That's the way I look at it. I'm not worried about any other teams or anything else other than what our team does. That's what the focus should be. Jacksonville that's their issues. They're 2 games, I think, behind us, maybe more. I don't even know. I just know we got to keep getting better because it's about the tournament for me. Winning the division, getting a home game, getting in the tournament, and having a shot. That's what this is about. Always been that way for me. We haven't won the division since 2014, so need to get that division win, and then anything can happen from then. You get a home game, and we play really well at home, and then, like I always say, defensive running game travels. So, you get in there and you go play. Nobody scares me like in the AFC. I'm not scared to play any of these teams. And really, the only game I would be shocked if the Colts won, to be quite honest with you, going down the stretch of this season, well, 2. At Jacksonville, because it just seems like it's never ever going to happen again, and it hasn't happened in 11 years. But really, the only team that I actually think I would be shocked if we beat would be Seattle, because it's a long flight trip to Seattle against a really, I think they're playing the best football of anybody in the NFL right now. So that would be the only. So I think the Colts are capable of beating everyone on their schedule. And I think they're capable of beating everybody in the AFC. Does that mean it's going to happen? No. Does it mean they're going to win all the games they should win on their schedule? No. The NFL is a week-to-week league, and anything can happen, as we oftentimes see. You saw how Atlanta pushed us. You saw how Atlanta beat the Bills. You saw how, the Bills got smoked in Miami. I mean, so you have to take it. It's annoying to say, but you just got to take it day to day, week to week. You cannot get ahead of yourself. But my number one goal as a fan and someone covering this team is win the division. And that starts with focusing on yourself. So that's where I'm at with that. But thank you for that question. With Jonathan Taylor's greatness we are seeing, do you think the team extends him? I do think so, but I don't think it's going to happen this year. There's 2, because right now we're in the middle of the Daniel Jones renaissance. We're going to have to pay him. Alec Pierce has earned a second deal. We have to pay him. Braden Smith is up. I think we let him walk. Nick Cross is up. I absolutely want him back. So they got to find a way to make that happen. And there's other guys, Kwity Paye. I think they let him walk. So I think they've got other things that they need to focus on. But I do think if he keeps playing like this, there's no way you don't extend him. I think it'll be, more of a short-term extension, but it will be an extension and he will get paid. So thank you for that question. Let's see. Then that was from John again. This one's from Tyler. If the team wins the division and minimum wins 1 home game, do you think Carly will extend Ballard or choose to ride out the last year of his contract to prove he can sustain multiple seasons of real success? That is a great question. A really great question. Man, that is a great question. I think I would probably do the latter part of that and see if he's, the second part and ride it out. But I think Carly, for the sake of kind of having him in place, I think she extends him. I think she believes in him. I think she extends him. I think Ballard has proven when you give him a quarterback, they will win. You look at, he said, okay, so when quarterbacks have played comparable to what Daniel Jones is playing right now, we've only had it a couple times, right? We had Phil in 2020, we went 11-5, and then Luck in 2018, we went 10-6, won a playoff game. I think he's a similar player. He's not as good as either one of those, I don't think. Maybe he's on the level of Phil, probably, with a higher upside, obviously, but I just think she's gonna look at that and extend him. I don't know what the extension will be or how long it'll be, but I think that's probably what she'll do. Owners and coach or owners and front office people, when you're in situations where you're winning, they value continuity. So I think that's what'll happen there. So thank you, Tyler, for the question. Hope I answered it okay. Brett, if Jim Bob and or Lou are hired away somewhere else this season, who do we get to replace them? Wow. I would think. Okay, I have no idea. First of all, and I sincerely hope this doesn't happen because I love those guys. I think this is a great coaching staff, but it's a valid question because I've already heard Lou mentioned for the Giants job, and that would be a natural fit for him. He's a Staten Island guy and all that, so it's a great question. For coordinator, I think they would go with somebody that's honestly, my answer is kind of the same. I think they would go with somebody that's fits within the system. The problem with Lou is he would probably want to bring all of his defensive coaches with him. So I that one's a tougher call for me. I haven't heard Jim Bob mentioned as much, so I don't think he's going to go unless our offense, because he's not calling the plays, and generally they want guys that call the plays. So that's a great question, man. Can I try to answer that maybe later in the year where we have more of an idea of like what's going to happen? Because I really think they want somebody defensively that's not going to that they're not going to have to flip the entire scheme. So somebody that's like in the same kind of the same kind of vibe as Lou, like whether that's Betcher or somebody on this staff, I have no idea. But like somebody that's cut from that same cloth, and generally speaking, the same thing's going to happen on offense. It'll be somebody Shane knows. Like for instance, if Patullo gets fired in Philly, I wouldn't be shocked if he came over here and was our offensive coordinator and just did the same thing and everything kept moving. Because I've heard that Philly is not happy with Patullo as their offensive coordinator. And I could very easily see him being fired and somebody else being brought in there. And then if JBC leaves, then you just bring in Patullo, and he does the same. He doesn't call Shane calls the plays. So and Patullo's been here, so you bring him in to be the OC, and that's probably what I would do. But again, like I said, you got to we have to see how it plays out. It's way too early. I mean, I have no clue who's going to be available or what's going to be available. So those are just that's my off the top of the head thoughts, because I don't ever read these questions before I answer them, because I like to have my first answer or my first viewing of the question to be fresh so I can give a fresh answer. So let's see. But thanks for the question, Brett. It really made me think, and when I get off here, I'll probably look into it more. John is back with another question. Who do you think the Colts re-sign among our free agents after the season? Well, I think there's two that they absolutely have to re-sign, and that is Daniel Jones, obviously. I think he'll be looking at like a, depending on how the rest of the season goes, I think he'll be looking at a similar deal as Darnold. And then Pierce has to get re-signed. Everybody on this offense outside of Braden Smith needs to be here. I don't think Braden, I just don't think that's the guy. Like, out of all the guys that we could lose, he's the one that would bother me the least, because I think we drafted his replacement last year. I don't think that was unintentional. I think that was intentional, and their hope is that Travis can grow and become the starting right tackle. And if not, I think you'll see maybe Matt move to right tackle, which is his natural position, and then maybe draft a guard in the draft or sign one. I don't know, but I would say Nick Cross, in order: Daniel Jones, Alec Pierce, Nick Cross. I think you'll see Pay walk. I think you'll see Braden walk. Because they're just not going to be able to afford Braden, I don't think. So those are the three guys that I think are probably going to be the guys, but the two that are most important. I mean, really, I think Nick Cross is a must-sign, because we're very limited depth at safety, and he's so good. You have him and Bynum, that's a great combo. And then if you draft the guy, you could have a third safety. So I think those are the big three that I want re-signed. So, because I think we have in-house guys that can play right tackle. Oh, and for Blake Freeland, I completely forgot he's on the roster. He's on IR, but that's another right tackle option. He hasn't played great, but guys, you've seen guys grow. So you've got Freeland, Gonzalez, and also Travis. So you've got three right tackle guys that could be. And I'm guessing Travis is who they want, but, Travis and Freeland, maybe they battle it out for right tackle. I don't know. We'll see. But as far as the three that I think get signed somehow, some way, are Dan and AP and Nick Cross. A lot of speculation that the Giants could poach Lou for their there it is, their next head coaching job. Do you think he's given the coaches, let me say this again. Do you think he's given the Colts any assurance that he's willing to stick around since the Colts have loaded up this defense with talent for the foreseeable future? I would say no. I think, and look, if you ask Steichen, he would tell you. Like every assistant he gets in here, he loves those guys. He wants them to get coaching jobs. If Lou gets a head coaching job and wants to stay, Steichen would probably be like, I want you to go, man. This is why we all do this. You want your own program. So I think Shane would say, Lou, go do your thing. Best of luck. Because I think the Colts will have a lot of defensive coaches wanting to come here with the roster that we're going to have on defense. So, no, I don't think he's going to give an assurance that he's going to stick around. I am positive he hasn't, because everybody that does this, 99% of the people, not everybody, there's a couple guys that just want to be assistant coaches and be left alone, like Tom Moore or something like that. But, like, Lou wants to be a head coach. So I would see, and I'm sure he's told Shane that, like, if he gets a job, I'm sure they all talked about all that already. So if he gets the opportunity to coach the New York Giants, he's gone. I don't think there's any question, and I would go too. That's a head coaching job, and there's only 32 of them in the NFL, and he's done a hell of a job with our defense. The thing I would tell you is not to worry, because we will get a good coach. The talent that you mentioned is the foremost reason, because one, you got an offense that scores a lot of points, so you've got defensive talent, so it's kind of a ready-made job for a good coach to come in and just take over and pick up where we left off. So that is something I'm not too worried about. I love Lou. I sang his praises. I thought he'd be a great hire. He's been as good as I thought. I think he's going to be great, even better the rest of the year. But I do think the Colts are in a much better place organizationally and stability-wise, that I'm not worried that if we lose Lou, say that 5 times fast, that we'll have trouble finding a good replacement. I think there'll be plenty of coaches that want to come here. So there's that. Should the Colts sign Justin Tucker now that he is eligible to play? Oh boy, trying to get me in trouble with this one. Okay, John, here's the deal. Tucker was terrible last year. He was missing kicks right and left. I'm just talking about on the field stuff right now. He was worse than Badgley is. He was terrible last year. Now, does that mean he would be terrible this year? No, but you have a really great locker room, a lot of synergy. Guys, I mean, they're all on the same page. Everything's tied together. Do you want to bring in the kicker version of Deshaun Watson? I'm just, no, I don't, like, maybe he's repented. He didn't murder anyone, but look, the stuff that he's accused of doing is foul, and I'm not trying to bring that in my locker room. Like, I think this is a team that's uber aggressive. They don't kick a lot of field goals, and when they do, they're usually within Badgley's range. So I'm good with Badgley. So no, I would not. I've seen that talked about, and people seem to forget how bad Tucker was last year. People fall off cliffs really quickly. If you need any, refresher, go back to Adam Vinatieri in 19. He fell off a cliff, and he was horrendous. Maybe that cliff for Tucker was last year, but generally when kickers are bad, they don't get better. So even without all of the Deshaun Watson-esque behavior, I would say no. You add that in, it's a hell no. So absolutely not. I don't want him anywhere near this team. Somebody else like the Raiders or somebody like the Browns can deal with that. That's their type of player, not mine, or Colt fans, in my opinion. The majority of them. Not all of them. Sure, plenty of Colt fans would love Justin Tucker, but I'd say the majority like where we are at 8-2, don't want to mess with the locker room. Don't want, a guy that lived in a handjob house for like 8 years to, be on the roster, and I'm good with that. Okay, so, I feel like this is from Echo Warrior. I feel like an underrated storyline this year has been the additions of Amir Abdul and Laquan Treadwell to the special teams. They've both been pretty great on kickoffs. Do you think they are one-season guys or they hold their roster spots next year? I mean, I think, I mean, they're cheap players, so I think they could hold on, but like Treadwell especially. But with Abdullah, the reason why I don't is his age, and also, we just drafted Giddens, and then we have Goodson. I think we have him next year. I don't know, but I wouldn't be shocked at either one. They're both really good core team players. So I wouldn't be against having them as back end guys. I mean, especially Abdullah, he's very good for a veteran. Even Treadwell, I haven't really seen him do much receiving wise, but he's been around, and yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be against it. You could certainly have worse back of the roster players. So we'll see what happens. They'll be cheap, so I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility. So. I think it all depends on the draft, the way they want to construct the roster, how many backs they want to carry, how many receivers they want to carry, all that kind of stuff. But, I mean, the fact that we're going to have to pay some high salaries and those guys would probably be cheap, I don't think I rule it out. So I would say 50-50 on both of them. So thanks for that, Echo Warrior. Hey, Jason, do you have any idea why Jalen Jones only had 3 snaps against the Falcons after shutting DK Metcalf down the last game? Yeah, I looked at that, and I think it was more of a move because of who the receiver was that he'd be guarding. Because Mooney is a speed receiver, and Jones is more of a physical guy and not a speed guy. I think it'll... Like, honestly, I think with until we get Mooney back, I think with Blackman and Jones, it'll kind of depend on who we have, like who the number 2 receiver is. If it's a big physical guy, I would expect Jones to play more snaps, or at least an equal amount of snaps as Mekhi. But if it's a fast guy, Mekhi's a 4-4, 4-3 guy. So if it's going to be a faster guy, they're going to put Mekhi out there. So I think that's why. I mean, I haven't heard anything... any other reason. And I haven't heard Lou do his presser, and I'm sure somebody will ask that. But look, man, we're in a good spot with both of those guys. Mekhi, I think, is playing fine. I thought he was okay. Obviously, he can play better, but he had a really horrible call against him, and that what was it? Illegal contact. That was a terrible call. The guy damn near ran him over, and they called it on us. That was a bad call in overtime. Mekhi's been solid, man, and Jalen. And look, I love Jalen. I think Jalen to me is the third best corner or third best outside corner on this team. I like him better than Mekhi just because I like the physicality of the way he plays. But we have a great cornerback room. I trust Lou to get it figured out. Like I said when we hired him, it's going to be the game plans are going to be different week to week. It's not going to be the same old like we had with Flus and Gus, where we just line up the same guys and play the same coverages and don't change anything. Like Lou, that's what I love about Lou. He fits our scheme to what we're playing against. So it'll be different every week. So I wouldn't stress too much. You're going to see Jalen. You're going to see 40 out there playing. So I think that's just the main reason. I think it was just the speed of Mekhi versus the speed of Mooney. He wanted to kind of limit the speed difference because there'd be such a speed difference between Jones and Mooney. So, do you know if the DeForest... And thanks for the question, J-Man Hoosier. I appreciate it. Trenton asked, do you know if the DeForest Buckner is super serious or being cautious? I don't think it's super serious. However, when you mention neck, it's always serious. They are being super cautious, which they should be because he is one of the biggest parts of this team, and there is no reason to risk him getting hurt like super seriously when you don't have to. So they put him on IR. That way, you protect the player from himself. You don't have the itch to put him out there. You just you get him. You get him rehabbing, doing the things he needs to do to get right, and then we bring him back when he's 100%, whether that's right after the 4 games or whenever it is. As long as he's back I'd like to get him back for our last game and then the playoffs, at least so he gets 1 game to shake the rust off. But whatever, if beggars can't be choosers. If that's not possible and he can only come back for the playoffs, so be it. But whatever is going to allow Buck to be Buck, that's what I want. So if that means sitting him for 6 games or whatever, that's fine with me. They're being super cautious because it's the neck, and you should be. There's been a lot of neck injuries in this league, and they're never good. So you do what's best for the player in that situation. So thank you for that question, Trenton. The man behind the wire asks, is the pass blocking or the O-line the past 2 weeks concerning to me, especially Braden Smith and I always say it, I'm just going to call him Matt. Gonzalez, sorry. Yeah, it is concerning. And I am positive that Tony Sperano Jr., Steichen, the players are, maybe not the players right now. The coaching staff is digging into all that right now. Guarantee you that they're self-scouting. They're looking at the looks they're getting, how the pressure's being brought, the consistency, the way they're being attacked, those things, the patterns, and what they can do to find solutions to those problems. Like I said earlier, I think you can go with more 2 tight end sets. You could throw more screens, get the running game going a little earlier, because sometimes Shane goes through these things where he will throw the ball like 12 straight times. And when he gets into those things, it's literally every play, and they're pinning their ears back, and that's when turnovers tend to happen and mistakes tend to happen. So he needs to be a little bit more complimentary. I'm not saying run, pass, like every play, but I'm saying a little bit, less pass heavy in the middle of the game and try to be more complimentary, so maybe you throw it two times and run it 3, throw it 2 times and then run it once, and then run it 3 times and then throw it twice. I'm just spitballing. I'm not being literal here, but I'm just saying more complimentary ways and not going like 0 runs for like 15 straight plays. Like that's when you get in trouble and teams start blitzing you, especially when you're not using. We didn't use a single screen against Pitt. I didn't understand that. So I think they're in the lab right now figuring out those issues. Yes, I'm concerned. Do I think it'll get fixed? I do. You have to remember with Gonzalez, he's playing out of position. He's naturally a right tackle. He's playing right guard. He's going to have bad games. Braden is Braden. He's going to have bad games too. Like he's struggled with speed rushers, and it's just who he is now. He's not a bad player. He's above average, but he's going to have bad games against certain guys. It just is what it is. And when they leave him one-on-one, he's got to do better, because that's one of the things Shane will do is he'll leave you one-on-one, and you've got to hold your own. And if you don't, you'll see turnovers. So that's why I said maybe mixing in a little bit more max protection, because we have great receivers. They'll get open. Give Daniel more time, and then maybe that fixes the problem. But they have to do a better job of identifying blitzes. They have to do a better and that's on the coaches and the players. And then they have to do a better job of when they're in position to pick up the blitz, picking it up. There's been a few plays where they have been and they haven't picked up the blitz. So it's on everybody. It is a concern, obviously, when you've had the weeks we've had with the turnovers we've had the last 2 weeks. So obviously a concern, but it is something that can be cleaned up. We didn't have any issues until the last 2 weeks, so it's certainly something that can be cleaned up. And I promise you, if you go back and watch that Denver game, they blitzed the dog crap out of us and we lit them up. So it's not that I don't think this team can adjust. I do, and I think they will. So am I concerned? Yes, but do I think it'll get fixed? I do. So we'll see. That's what they get paid the big bucks for, finding solutions to issues. Only got a few more left. Jonathan asks, hey, Jason, glad you're back. Thank you, sir. Glad you're doing well. Again, thank you, sir. Are there ways for Daniel Jones to improve his deep ball throw? I think some of it, maybe a little bit, maybe the timing, maybe getting rid of it a little earlier and letting the guys run under the throw. But, kind of is what he is. I don't think he's been bad throwing the deep ball. I think he's been better than I thought. My thing is always if it's Pierce, you just give him a chance to go get it. You know what I mean? Because really all of our receivers, Pittman or Pierce, they're big, they're strong, they're physical. As long as you put it up there high enough for them to go get it, they'll go get it. So I don't really have too much of an issue with his deep ball. It's more of sometimes he waits. And I've noticed this with a lot of his passes. Sometimes he'll wait an extra tick when maybe he should just get rid of the ball. But I'm nitpicking, man. Like Daniel Jones has been just unbelievable. I can't, like, outside, even with the last 2 weeks, he's been unbelievable. If you look at his full body of work, I couldn't have asked for more. This is far exceeding my expectations. I feel like I'm nitpicking him. I think he's done a good job with the deep ball. We knew that wasn't a strength of his, but I think he's been solid with it. I really do. I think he's giving our guys a chance to make plays, and they're making them, especially Alec Pierce. I mean, he's really done a great job getting the ball at Alec Pierce and allowing him to make plays. So I think, nitpicking, I think there's plays where he can maybe get rid of it a little earlier, but outside of that, I've been happy with his deep ball. So thank you for the question, my friend. Deep Blue Trucker, do you think we have a chance in hell of winning the Super Bowl if Buck's neck injury takes him out for the year? Oh, man. You brought me down. I thought this was going to be all positive. Do I think there's a chance in hell? I mean, meaning like 1% chance? Yeah, sure. Why not? Maybe we just outscore everybody. Our offense just turns back into an offense dropping 40 every week. Do I think there's a chance? It's a small one, but yeah. Would I bet my house on it? No. I think we would have to have a miracle run of an elite offense for that to happen. But you never know, man. You just never know. I mean, who knows? Tommy might turn into the next coming of Buck. Who knows? I don't think so. I don't think there's a chance in hell, but I kind of do. I kind of think there's like a 1%, the Dumb and Dumber. So you're saying there's a chance, 1 in a million. That's a chance. It's not a good one, but if you ask me realistically, do I think we would win? We could win the Super Bowl without Buckner? Probably not. Probably not. So, way to bring down the show, my friend, Deep Blue Trucker. But I appreciate you asking the question because I'm sure a lot of people wanted to ask that question and didn't want to make it a negative thing, and you just asked it, so it's all good. And then finally, a question from Shelby. Do you think it's smart to sign Daniel Jones to a long-term deal now, or do you need to see more? By now, I think you mean after the season. I think the rest of the season's going to answer this question. I wouldn't sign him now, like today, but I absolutely would sign him after the season if he keeps playing similar to what he's playing. Overall, not the last. Well, he wasn't really even bad in the Atlanta game, other than not taking care of the ball. I mean, he had a passer rating over 100. He's only had 2 games where he wasn't over 100, and that was Pitt. He was like 60, and the Rams, I think he was 84. So he's been really good all year. Even this last week where we all thought he was kind of bad, he was not really that bad. He just didn't take great care of the ball. So what I think happens is they'll sign him like a 4-year extension at the end of the year. Or they'll franchise him until they can figure out a contract for him. That's what I think happens with Daniel Jones. But I do think they're definitely talking about it internally, and they are going to sign him. It's just a question of how much and for how long. And I think it'll be done before free agency starts, I would say. So that's going to get done. He's going to be here, and I think it's a good thing. We need stability at the quarterback position. We have not had that really at all since 2018. And really, honestly, we haven't had that in like 10 years because if you think about it, Luck got hurt in 17, so it was Brissett in 17, Luck in 18, Brissett in 19, Phil in 20, Wentz in 21, Matt Ryan and Ellinger and Foles in 22, Minshew in 23, AR in 24, and then, or 23 is AR and Minshew, 24 was AR and Flacco, and then 25 has been DJ. So I think this is what the Colts need. They need to lock down. And he's going to get better. He's going to play better. I think the more he understands change system and the more they can give him and the more that they can tinker with the offense, the better he's going to get. And so, yeah, I think the deal gets done. I think it'll be like a 3-4 year deal after the season, but before free agency, which will allow them, if they need, to use the franchise tag on somebody, which I don't think they will. I think they're going to get their deals done with Alec and with DJ. I think you'll see that happen. So I hope I answered your question. I do think that you'll see it after the season before free agency opens. So with that, those are all the questions I got. I want to thank you guys for asking those questions. I did my best to answer them. I know the Lou Anarumo one, the coaches that would take over for Lou and JBC if they left, were not great answers. Ask me again in a couple months when have a better look at what the NFL landscape looks like. But thank you guys so much for the questions I asked and you came through, and I really appreciate the support. Like, comment, subscribe, pass it to your Colt friends. I'm trying to grow the channel. As always, I appreciate you guys. I hope you're having a great bye week, and I'll come up with something else to do to talk about. If you have any topics you want me to hit on for a podcast, post them in the comments below. Otherwise, I will talk to you guys soon. Have a great week or rest of the week and a great weekend, and enjoy the football. And I'll talk to you soon. This has been Culture Uncut with your host, Jason Spears.